So, yep, as you know, I thought my cats were gone forever. And after leaving the shelter, after the flood that my dad uh, damaged the house with, and after he had spent some time at a place called Dammasch Hospital, back then they had them in many different places. After everything that happened, I still had no idea what happened to maximum, minimum, medium, or mediocre. They were just gone as far as I knew. And life kinda started to change after that. We stayed in the shelter for a while, and then I guess we knew that my dad went to Dammasch Hospital, or at least my mom did. So then we spent some time at my grandma's house, and then we ended up moving into an apartment in Tigard, Oregon. We lived there. They were decent apartments. I really liked them. My aunt and uncle actually managed the apartment complex, so they lived there too, and I loved having my cousins close by. For the first time in a while, I started to feel like life is calming down and things were going back to normal, going to school, even if it was in a new school. Um, Things just began to feel normal again. I had family around me, I had my cousins around me, and that for me it made me feel safe. I knew my uncle was there, and I knew my dad was in the hospital, but I still always kind of wondered, like, I wonder what happened to my cats. Like, of course, it was a sad thought, so I tried not to allow it to even come into my mind. And all of the things, dad wrecking our house, dad causing us to move. And because of that, at this point in my life, my dad was a scary person. He had ruined everything, he had wrecked everything, and he was definitely on the naughty list. He was number one. Like, I did feel like anger and mad at him because I felt like everything was so good at the house and it was so fun. And I'm sure that was just as a child thinks. Like, I'm sure my mom wouldn't have probably said that, but that's how I felt about it. I love that house. I got baptized in that house. I chose to get baptized in that house around my birthday. And I remember that. I remember my mom buying me a gunny sack dress for um my baptism day. I remember like so many memories of that house, and just we always, had people coming in that house. There was a lot of fond, wonderful memories in that house. And I feel like it was just like somebody just blew that up. So I'm in the apartment, I'm learning to cope, learning that you don't just bawl about everything because there's no point. But I did like hold resentment towards my dad. So then one day I was in the apartment just sitting there doing whatever I do, probably playing babies or something. And my mom came running in and she's like, "Sarah, Sarah, your dad's here." And I'm like, "What? How? How does he even know where we are?" "I don't know, but he's here." I was like, again, scared. I didn't know what to do. And so I cautiously go out onto the porch and I see my dad down there and he was in this he had this white van. And of course, right? And so he's down there and he's yelling for my brother to come down there. And honestly, I can't remember if my brother actually went down there. I remember the whole thing being traumatizing, and so there was bits and pieces that I maybe didn't hold on to. Um, but I don't remember exactly what he did. But I remember, like, kind of thinking I was hidden from it all, and my mom and my brother were dealing with it, which is where I usually like to be. And all of a sudden, he's like, "Sarah!" And I'm like, my stomach just dropped to the floor, and like, oh my word, he sees me. And like, I don't know how to respond. It's like your dad. Like, and he goes, "Sarah, come down here." And I'm like, no, I'm not going down there. And he said, look, I have your cats. Here's maximum. Here's minimum. Here's medium. Here's mediocre. I kept them safe for you. I was so overjoyed to see my cats. But and I promised I wasn't gonna cry on this one. But I knew I couldn't go down there and get them. I knew my mom couldn't keep them at the apartment because I don't think we were supposed to have animals there. I don't really remember. I just remember that I couldn't go down there. I remember my mom wouldn't let me. She's like, "No, he'll try to take you. He'll steal you away from me." And that scared me more than anything, knowing what he did to our family. But it was a joy to see my cats. They were alive, they were well. He actually took them. He cared enough to take them. Oh my goodness, I was so happy to see them. But of course, it was also hard because although I was so happy they were safe, I couldn't do anything about it. I couldn't see them, I couldn't be with them. And honestly, I think that was the last time I ever seen them. And I think I remember my dad and my brother actually telling me what happened to them after that, but I don't remember ever being with them or, you know, being able to hug them again or being around them. But I was happy that they were alive. Some people probably think, boy, it was just a cat. But to me, like, we were always, our animals were like family. I mean, obviously, humans meant more, humans were more important and all that, but our animals were our family. Like they were just as much a part of us as, you know, like anybody. Like they were pets, but they weren't pets, if that makes any sense.